Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Intuitive Teacher and Guide. I do natal chart readings and I also do dream interpretation. This is all based on energy readings that I do. And this is done to help others grow and expand in their journey to understanding themselves and understanding others around them, especially loved ones. So today I want to talk about the transits that are happening right now at this moment. Today is September 18, 2024, and this is Pacific time. And just recently there was a major event that happened, and actually the moon is right now in Aries. As you can see from this chart, it's in 6-degree areas, which actually this is right around the time that I made this video. But very recently, in the past less than 24 hours, when Saturn and the moon were in conjunction, that was a major event in the energies. A lot of emotions and a lot of feelings seem to be coming up to the surface because Saturn in Pisces and the moon in Pisces is kind of like an ending of a cycle, going through the zodiac sign. So it kind of brought a lot of emotions, and probably a lot of you felt like you realized some things in your life and even came out with some new visions and realizations in your own life. So that's the power that Saturn in conjunction with the moon had, um, that brought those up, and probably felt like you were a little bit more emotional, but also like may perhaps seen more of like a light at the end of the tunnel with some vision. That's how that energy felt. And now I'm going to focus on four major aspects or transits happening right at the moment, with Saturn making a really tight opposition to Mercury. So Saturn in Pisces, Mercury in Virgo, these are opposing energies. So it's a very uh, tight aspect in opposition, meaning the energies are opposing each other. And you have Saturn, which is the planet that sort of brings like discipline. Sometimes it can feel a little bit restricted because it wants to make sure that you are in the right direction. And with Mercury, the planet of communication, so I feel like a lot of people might be looking at, am I saying this correctly? Am I communicating the right way? So it's like a lot of overthinking and a lot of correcting that can be happening on communication, whether it's written communication, oral communication, even like body expression, like you are paying a lot of attention to that. And so that will perhaps kind of make you kind of back up a little bit in the way that you are communicating. So like me, like right now, probably overthinking what I'm saying, but that's the energy that those two planets bring. The other one that is a very tight aspect is that I want to also talk about is and that one is actually a positive. So anything that is in red will be considered a hard aspect. But one that is in blue is a positive, more harmonious aspect. And that is between Uranus and the Sun. So this one is interesting because with the recent event on Saturn, with the moon being in conjunction in the sign of Pisces, it almost like this one feels more like changes are happening in your own self, because Uranus is, a lot of people think of it like a rebel or sudden changes, but it's not just that. It's like our changes are happening that are sort of in line with the universe, right? So innovation, things that are kind of forward thinking, that there is a purpose to it. So there are changes that happen within yourself because the sun is your identity, your core, your values, your beliefs, all that is you. But with Uranus, um, that in a trine, because this is a trine, is in 120 degrees, so 4 signs over. That is a very harmonious aspect, and it's a very, very tight one because, um, as you can see, it's in a bold. Bold meaning is very tight, and this is done in Astrosic, which I really love. That brings you into like changes and positive changes. I think with the energy, feels like you are realizing some things and you're making the right changes that will bring you into in almost like in line with the universe. So that is a great, great one to have. And that is a transit that is happening right around this time. Another one I always want to focus a lot on the malefics because I think they are really harsh. Saturn is one of them. Mars is another one. And sometimes I think of Pluto as being one, although Pluto is more like a transformative energy where things kind of died and they are born again. So it's a very flowing one, but it can also be difficult to with a lot of us because it's very powerful. So another one that is happening is Mars squaring the moon. So we have Mars in Cancer and now the moon in Aries as it sort of just in the past few hours, it kind of went into this shift, right? Into because remember the moon moves signs every about 2.5 days. So right now in Aries with the square in Mars, moon being that sort of how you get all your energy and your emotions, the feelings, like your connection to your mother, and even a home, and even those things that make you feel comfortable. But with the square in Mars, Mars is just action driven. It's action driven. It's almost like a train going pretty fast. So that's the energy that Mars brings. It's just like action, 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 action. I'm just gonna go and go and go and go. And whatever gets in the way, like I'm going, I'm going. But the moon is just, it's not always like that. So having the moon with the square in Mars, the emotions might be just, they might just kind of, are just kind of come out and like explode abruptly, and because Mars is kind of pushing those out. So with the energy that we carry on from the last few hours, I think a lot of those things are just coming out to the surface. And it's not that it's anything like violent or aggressive, but you might have moments where like, oh, I gotta say this, like I gotta get it out. And it's just, it's a friction. So it happens and it doesn't, and it happens and it doesn't. So you might have very little control over that because it's very back and forward. And we also have another one that I want to talk about is the Pluto, the planet of transformation, a square in Venus. So that is, so Pluto right here, Pluto in Capricorn, and Venus in Libra. So it's a square. It's not a very tight square, but because Pluto is involved, it's a lot of power struggle. So Pluto wants to get this transformation done. And Venus is a um, rather, it, the energy of Venus is harmonious, is love, is how you relate, is what almost like brings some kind of joy to your life. But with Pluto in this square or this 90-degree aspect in a not very tight aspect, but still very important, will be perhaps you are having some sort of friction with a loved one. It could be a romantic person in your life, or it could be a family or friend, somebody that you have a close bond to, that you have a connection. So you might feel like maybe feeling a little bit like, oh, I want to, why didn't you call, or why didn't you return my call? Like, just this kind of power over this interaction, um, feeling like maybe you are out of control, because Pluto wants to have that control and that power. So there's this energy about it, that you might be out of like synchronization with that person, and you might want to sort of take control over it. And this in a romantic relationship can be pretty bad, because then it's a lot of control, and the other person feels like you are controlling them, maybe in some ways being a little bit over possessive. If that's not your nature, some signs have that already, and that energy already, and in them. But if it's not part of this connection, then it can feel pretty heavy, because it almost feels like that very possessive energy over that one person. So yeah, there's a lot going on. I always say, if you have any of these aspects in your own chart, natal chart, pay attention. Um, just be very cautious of it. Just be very patient, and especially when Mars is involved, just be extra patient and extra careful, because the energies can get out of place really, really fast. So if you need to go for a walk, if you need to talk to somebody else um, that you get along with and you feel comfortable, then do so, um, because these energies can be heavy. All right, I hope this helps, and have a wonderful day. Bye.